Hey there, gang. Well, SJ Porr is over. Well, I just reviewed my last beer, so I thought I would make this video to review my own beer, and you'll either be seeing this relatively soon if I don't move on, or way later if I do happen to, by some miracle, move on. But I know that my beer is going to be fading out pretty soon, so I thought that I would just give it a quick drink and talk about it and give some feedback, because I actually I haven't gotten my scores back yet, but yeah, I just wanted to give my opinion on it and then see if it kind of lines up with. I put it in the ones I saved for myself are just in bottles that I didn't even bother to delabel. So, all right. So here it is. This is the infamous Blur. What did I call it? On my SJ Porr label, I called it an adjunctorific pale ale, which I thought was a pretty good description. Let me just finish pouring it out here. I'll leave some of it behind. Yeah, check that out. There's no filter on it this time, I promise. It is actually just that filthy looking. Yeah, so it's actually it's not a very nice head. A couple of the video reviews that I've seen and a couple of the other bottles that I've opened had a much nicer head on them. So I don't know. No, what's your problem, man? What's up with you kids today? So what's the idea behind this beer? All these like East Coast IPAs are they're so popular right now. These haze bombs, juice bombs they call them, and everybody talks about all that haze that comes from the yeast and the adjuncts in the beer. And we use 20% oats in our IPA to make it hazy. So I thought, well, anything worth doing is worth overdoing. So I made a pale ale where 50% of the grain bill is not barley; it is flaked adjuncts. We got it's 2-row. Is 50% of the grain bill. The other 50% is split between flaked rye, flaked oats, flaked wheat, and flaked rye. So your kind of 5 standard flaked adjuncts. I didn't put corn in because I think that that's a very distinct flavor and kind of would have overpowered everything else. So I left the corn out. Yeah. So here we go. That's as hazy as you can get. I don't think you could quite get much hazier than that. It's also Mosaic, my favorite hop. There are no bittering hops in it. It is entirely bittered on the big Whirlpool edition, which I believe was, I'd have to check my notes, but 60 grams. This is a 10-liter batch, 11-liter batch. So I think it was 60 at flame out, and then 45 grams of dry hop, all Mosaic. So I've been smelling it as I've moved it in front of my face. I can smell the Mosaic. I'm kind of like, oh. So it's still got that very, very distinct Mosaic nose. It's held up quite well. Bottled it early September, second week of September, can't remember, first week of September, and the nose, it's actually held up pretty well. It's still got that tropical lychee fruit Mosaic smell to it, but I can smell the adjuncts underneath, especially the oats and the Yeah, the oats and the barley I think come through pretty well, and they kind of boost the hop aroma. Some bottles the hop aroma is a little brighter than others, but this one is pretty bright. Some you can, and as it warms, you'll get more of that kind of adjunct smell, which it kind of comes off as a general kind of toasty breadiness. So the flavor is where this beer gets crazy, because everybody's seen a beer this filthy dirty looking and smelled Mosaic. The second reason that I made this beer is that one of the main complaints that I hear, and a complaint that I have myself with sessionable ales, is how insanely thin they are, like how thin the body is. And so a lot of people, they try and put adjuncts or wheat or something in to kind of boost the body. So the other thing is I thought that, 50% adjuncts, if they boost the body enough to make a session beer taste not so thin, then yeah, that'd be awesome. But I'm kind of trying to debunk whether you can actually add enough adjuncts to kind of take that thinness away from low alcohol beers. What is I think it's 4.2%, 4.1 or 4.2% alcohol, by the way, this beer. So very, very in the session category. It does help. It helps a lot. It still does have that thinness. There's no special yeast in this. This is US-05, just a packet of US-05. So just neutral California ale yeast. No low flocculating, nothing at all. It dropped to 10.9. So it's actually a very, very dry beer, very standard gravity, finishing gravity for this style. But it does have a nice body. Would you mistake this for a double IPA? No. Would you mistake it for a regular IPA? Yeah, maybe, probably. I would say that this beer tastes like it's 10, 12, 10, maybe slightly above that. So it's definitely got more body. It's not crazy body, but it did give the body that I was looking for. It's got good Mosaic flavor. You definitely taste the Mosaic up front on it. It's slightly less juicy. You get a good hit of kind of tropical up front, and then it starts to blend in with the malt, which the malt is actually the interesting part. Everybody knows what Mosaic tastes like, but the crazy mixture of malts in this beer is what gives it a really unique flavor. And I go back and forth on whether I think it's really cool or whether I think it's just kind of distracting, not entirely palatable. It's palatable, but it's like you definitely taste that it's because it's a light beer and the malts are there. You definitely taste that they're strange. They're kind of strange malts for this type of beer. They're not meant to be. They're not meant to be beer. It's a very interesting kind of raw, like. I can distinctly pick out the flaked oats and the flaked barley. The flaked rye, I wondered if that was going to give. I actually went pretty low on the percentage of the flaked rye. I think that it's something like 30-30-10 percentage wise in the adjuncts. 10 being the rye, because I thought that it would be a major flavor contributor, but I can't taste any real rye in this. You can see that the head dies on it really quickly too, which is strange, right, for having all those adjuncts in it. Also debunking that myth of adjuncts helping your head. not really debunking, just maybe I just suck at making beers with good head retention. I don't know. There, I reheaded it. But yeah, the flavors, it's difficult to describe. I wish I'll link the reviews to this beer. There's only 2 or 3 of them, video reviews. I'll link to what they said. And I got a couple people who said, "Oh, I've never really had a beer like this." And I guess that's true. I've never had a beer like this either. I brewed version 1. This is much better than version 1. Version 1, the hops weren't as pronounced because I didn't do a dry hop. I just did a massive flame out because I wanted that kind of all those malts to shine through a bit more. But that was a mistake because it had this kind of weird texture. That's not a good word, but it had this really weird raw adjuncts. Like that's what you get a little bit in this. The hops really help it give this kind of bread dough, like banana, like fruity dough. That's a good word for it. But it does have that kind of raw quality. It's that raw adjuncts. I mean, if you just take a big handful of oats or barley or just anything, like if you're making multi-grain bread and you just took a big and ate it up, it's got that kind of right off the plant type flavor, and that's what's in here. And it's cool. It is cool, and this beer is drinkable as fuck. I don't have very many bottles left. I think there's only 2 bottles left. Sorry, I think even if I don't move on, if I move on, I'm definitely rebrewing it because this is the kind of beer that needs to be rebrewed. I wouldn't want to let it sit more than a month or 2. And let the hops fade out of it too much, but I want to rebrew it again. There's a couple of tweaks that I would make with it. I might add another hop just to give a kind of. I might actually change the hop profile to something a little more dank that could play with that kind of raw malt flavor a little more. And I actually think I'm going to cut back on, I think I'm going to definitely boost the rye up a little bit to see if I can't get some of that flavor to come out. And I think I'm going to pull back on the oats and the barley a little bit and kind of bring back that flavor. But I think it turned out to be a really nice beer. I think it's interesting. It's very experimental. It's very me. It's very like, how many experiments can I jam into one brew session, and then criticize myself about afterwards. But I definitely think that it turned out really good. It's very drinkable. If I don't move on, God, I'd love to send. I'm gonna make sure that I rebrew it sometime when I'm going back to the U.S. because there's some people that I think I'd really like to get their opinions on it. Not that the people who have already tried it, I don't value their opinions, but I think it's a cool idea, and I think I'll keep tinkering with it in the future. But if you've got any more questions, I don't know if I went over everything. Did I talk about the bitterness? The bitterness is really nice. It's a very pale ale bitterness, very smooth from the no bittering edition. I still pulled a decent amount of IBU off the flame out, so it's not sweet or anything. Although it tastes slightly sweet because of so many adjuncts in it, because it has a fuller body than you would think. Anyway, if you have any more questions, leave them in the comments, and I will give you a detailed answer, probably ad nauseum. And guys, if I didn't make it, congratulations to whoever did. Good luck in the full finals. If I did make it, congratulations past me. hope you'll watch this video in the future and be like, oh man, I drank a beer in the past. I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway, cheers, guys. See you around. See you around. I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah, cheers.